From MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
Losing the iconic Eminem Bar and Cafe has been devastating to the folks in Butte, but the owner assures me she will rebuild. I'll tell you about it coming up.
Affected businesses surrounding it. I'm Caitlin Aguilas, and I'll let you know how other businesses are dealing with the aftermath.
There's a nice, lovely shot in the mining city this morning, just ahead of 6:30. Chet Lehman, Matt Elwell with you here. It is a beautiful morning out there, Matt. Again, starry skies this morning. When I came in, there wasn't frost on my car when I left early this morning, but I know it got cooler after I got here.
Yeah, there was some frost on my windshield. I think it kind of depends on where you are, whether the cloud cover was in place and that type of thing. Definitely a crisp morning, though. You'll want those coats or jackets as you head out the door. Temperatures overall holding into the 20s and low 30s. Most areas are pretty close to the freezing mark, so a little frost not out of the question for sure. Skies should get a little more cloudy as you go later into the afternoon. Also a few spotty, isolated showers, brief downpours, nothing particularly heavy. That is a fantastic shot there. Thanks for setting that up, Jesse. Temperatures should be into the mid to upper 50s for the afternoon for Bozeman. Butte, very similar, but we are holding at least the potential of some showers today. We'll talk about that potential coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Matt. Just ahead of 6:31 now. Last week's fire that destroyed the M&M was devastating loss to most people in Butte and many of us around the Treasure State, especially for the owner of the famous bar and cafe. Now, she told our John Amy yesterday she plans to raise the M&M from the ashes and rebuild in that same historic location.
Losing the iconic Eminem Bar and Cafe has been devastating to the folks in Butte, but the owner assures me she will rebuild. The past few days have been difficult for Selena Pankovich in the wake of watching her business burn to the ground in one morning after dedicating the past 3 years of her life to building it up.
I just emotional wreck, you know. It comes and goes. It's 1 minute I'm good, and then I think I got to go grab that off the corner of my desk, and then I think there is no corner of the desk, you know.
The owner of Butte's iconic Eminem Bar and Cafe, which was destroyed in a fire on May 7th, said she plans to rebuild. And she'll rebuild it in the same location the landmark stood for the past 130 years. She's compelled to do it for the community and her loyal customers.
I mean, all day long I think, where is KP going to go? Where is Chester going to go? Where is, you know, we have customers that came in 2 or 3 times a week. And it breaks my heart to think that, you know, they've lost their home. And I got to get it back, you know, I got to get it back quick.
The day of the fire, she was moved to see the firefighters carefully remove the historic M&M sign before the gutted building was collapsed.
They saved the sign, so you have no choice but to build and put the sign back. So it's very inspiring that, you know, they went through their trouble, and now it's my turn to put it back home.
Having this burnout gap in the heart of Uptown Butte is something Selena doesn't want to leave here very long, but she knows it's going to take a lot of hard work and a lot of money to fill it.
It is going to take, you know, some grant money, some fundraising, the insurance money, and my own personal investment back into the building, and more financing. But it's something I'm willing to do, and I'll do everything I can to make it happen.
Pankovich said she's grateful for all the support she's received from the community. In Butte, John Amy, MTN News.
Now, there was a period of time last Friday morning when that fire was burning that there was concern that it may spread to other businesses in that neighborhood. MTN's Caitlin Aguilas with more in-depth looking at what other businesses have also been dealing with.
The destruction of the M&M sent shockwaves throughout the community, but businesses next door have been dealing with the aftermath of the fire.
And the best way to describe what I saw was that when you're cooking bacon and you burn it a little too much and there's like this smoky haze in your kitchen, we had that sort of smoke haze in here.
The owner of How Novel said she was in shock when she heard the news the M&M was on fire.
It was It was a big deal. I wasn't expecting it. It was very traumatic.
When the crowd had dispersed, Carol's had a look inside her store, worried that the books were damaged by the smoke.
You know, we're a bookstore and the paper is kind of porous, and so I thought, you know, the smoke getting, the smell and the char getting stained on the pages would damage the materials.
Luckily, both stores have only minor damage. None of the books in How Novel were stained, and both stores just need to air out the smell. During the course of the fire, business owners were concerned it would spread and cause more damage to the area.
When I turned onto Park Street and saw that plume of smoke coming from an area like literally where your business is, it's an actual nightmare.
Wick had stayed across the street the entire day, watching the effort to put out the fire in real time.
I knew that if I left during the day, my mind would be here, so it didn't pay to leave.
Carol stayed home, but kept track over what was going on through news and social media.
My heart more went out to them than what was going on or what could have happened to our store.
Efforts are underway to help rebuild the M&M. 5518 Designs will be putting out a special t-shirt where 100% of the proceeds will go toward the rebuilding effort. In Butte, Caitlin Aguiles, MTN News.
All right, thank you, Caitlin. In other headlines now at 6:36, no new deaths to report from COVID-19 since our last report. Numbers slowed down for confirmed cases coming in as well. We have 46 new cases, 71 people in hospitals. That's across the entire state. Active cases in the state, 1,083. Cascade County has now taken the dubious honor of top spot for active cases, followed by Yellowstone County, then Gallatin County. Fortunately, Butte-Silver Bow County in a welcome low spot at just 8 cases. In other news this weekend, Bozeman Police Department responded to 4 related car break-ins. All took place at trailheads in Bozeman during the middle of the day. Now, Hassan Toro Biadoli from Argentina appeared in Gallatin County Justice Court yesterday. Court documents say the suspect was stealing credit cards from people's locked cars by drilling out the locks, then using those cards to buy gift cards. Cost victims thousands of dollars. Bozeman Police Officer Troy Fraley says one victim able to help officers find the suspect by taking note of suspicious behavior from that trailhead parking lot.
Also, these people did notice people milling around that were likely involved in this that didn't seem to have a purpose at the trailhead. So I would say just be cognizant of that. You know, if there's people that don't seem to have a purpose there, maybe stick around, hang around your car for a little longer and just kind of see what's going on.
Good advice there. By the way, those incidents took place at Pete's Hill, the M Trailhead, and the Cherry Creek Fishing Access. Biadoli's bail set at $25,000 in court yesterday. On the national scene, more people are dying each day than are being born. Census data released this week indicates that for the 6th year in a row, the birth rate in the U.S. has dropped. Fewer children means profound societal changes for generations to come. Asher Karashi takes a look at the practical impact this could have on America's future.
A global pandemic, lockdown, and isolation may have all contributed to the drop in Americans making babies, but the trend has been on the decline for years.
The part that's attributable to sort of general downward trend is about the same as what has been in the past, and the part that's attributable to COVID looks, pretty big.
Philip Levine is a professor of economics at Wellesley College. He specializes in statistical analysis and the economics of fertility. He says the decline is like seeing the inverse of the baby boom of the late 1940s, 50s, and early 60s.
We're talking about 1 million extra kids per year. That's not far away from where we are now on the opposite side with declines.
The American birth rate dropped for the 6th year in a row in 2020, down by 4% from the previous year. It also reached a record low of 55.8 births per 1,000 women aged 15 to 44.
But the killer is that then there will be fewer working age people to support old people as they get older.
It's a trend that could profoundly affect the nation's economic future. Everything from a dwindling need for classrooms to a shrunken labor force and the future of Social Security.
Where workers makes the solvency of the Social Security system even that much more difficult than it already is. You're talking about decades worth of impacts.
Other countries have tried to incentivize childbirth, offering free childcare. housing grants, longer parental leave, and even free cash.
It doesn't obviously seem like that's going to help solve this particular aspect of the problem. Not to say that those things aren't good policies for other reasons, but I don't think they're likely to be successful here.
But even in countries that have incentivized the birth rate, the real solution has pretty much always been immigration.
A survey conducted during the health crisis found that overall, 1/3 of women, 34%, wanted to get pregnant later or wanted fewer children because of the pandemic. The Brookings Institute estimates we could see between 300,000 and 500,000 fewer births in 2021. All of the babies born would have been conceived during the outbreak,
which has just very significant implications for society going forward.
The real question now is just how big a potential baby bust could be. I'm Usher Qureshi reporting.
That one yet to be determined. We'll continue to follow. Meantime, it is 6:40. We're going to take a break. When we come back, does it seem like you're paying more at the store for some things? Turns out you are. We'll take a look at some of those rising prices. But first, here's Anthony Mason with a look at what's coming up at 7 o'clock on CBS This Morning.
Good morning. Ahead on CBS This Morning, we'll discuss the effectiveness of Pfizer's authorized vaccine for kids 12 and older and when it might be available. Plus, lines across the country are growing in anticipation of a possible gas shortage, the latest on the cyber attack that shut down a critical U.S. fuel pipeline. Also, when Stacey Abrams isn't fighting for voter reform, she's writing books. The best-selling author talks with us about fiction versus reality in her new legal thriller. And two-time Grammy nominee Bebe Rexha gets personal on why she chose to open up about her mental health in her new music. All coming up when we see you at 7.